Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. So good to finally meet you. Like this still isn't in person, but this is like closer than we've been.
I know video is amazing, right? It connects people in ways
Mm,
that we never ever would have been able to connect. So I'm enjoying the video interviews and
mm,
connectivity.
absolutely. Hi, Uni.
Hey, Uni
Uni's up there
girl.
saying hello.
Uni's my son. That's my son.
Nice. You're gonna see your people start to pop up here on the live as well. So glad to have you on.
What an interesting
And
story you did in your introduction. Like there's so many spaces around the world that shadow over our existence because at that time our
mm,
existence didn't have value, right? And so
right.
when you think
Yeah.
about it today, about how our existence is still being shadowed, just in a different way. It's a little smarter. It's a little bit more, seductive in
It's
how
more
they do
slick.
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But they still do it. They still kind of downplay the things that we do, and um, it's up to us to always have our voice. So you were spot on.
Absolutely. It was frustrating. Like I can't like I was telling my wife, like I mean all the things that I the first one I heard about was obviously Black Wall Street in Tulsa and how the magnitude of that desecration of that culture. And then someone posted about Africville, and I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but that was in Nova Scotia where they did the same thing and they wiped out a whole black community there. And then when I realized that the same thing happened in Priceville, which is an hour and a half from my house, like I'm infuriated because like all three of these stories aren't in our history books. They're not told to us. These are word of mouth stories that need a voice.
Well, and they're the same story. They're just happening in different areas of the world. But the story doesn't change, right? So when you think about how
Right.
people move through space, the way they systematically move normally doesn't change. They just do it in different areas where we can't communicate with each other so that we can put a voice to it, put a
We can't
name
connect the
on it,
dots.
call it out, like call a thing, as Iyanla always says, right? So it's up to us
Mm,
to always have these conversations, like even the uncomfortable conversations, the unsexy conversations, because that's the only way that we're going to be able to shine light onto like any issue, not just this particular issue, but any
yes.
issue at all, right? We have to have those unsexy
Hmm.
conversations. But you know,
Right.
Facebook and Instagram and social media is supposed to be sexy, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
It's true, right? And so the space to have these uncomfortable conversations, I I'm happy for the time that we're in right now. A lot of times people are still having arms crossed and saying that's not enough. There still needs to be done more. Still needs more to be done, which is true. But at the same time, I love the fact that we have more of a voice, really enjoying seeing people that traditionally would not say anything use the fact that there is some momentum and almost like protection. Now, I don't know if you saw, like, I have friends who are in media and news broadcasters, and that whole issue of code switching and having to change our tone and not be too black so it's too intimidating for the audience. And they're coming out now. They're being themselves authentically out there because they know their job isn't on the line. There's too much to risk by firing that person for being themselves now. Whereas 5 years ago, they could have been gone and they would have used some other excuse for axing them.
Right. And I actually use that same example with I did a podcast. I have a podcast. Let me just say before we get into this, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I got a whole lot of stuff going on.
I could tell.
I like I like making money and I like making moves. So okay, that's how that goes. But one of those interests is my
Good.
podcast, and I did an interview a couple weeks ago, right when the whole Black Lives Matter movement and George Floyd was being funeralized. It was like at the peak with our allies. I just published it. I just posted it, and I asked our allies. I said, "Do you have to code switch?" Because I don't know if
Hmm.
we are um, thinking universally all the way around. I know my plight and I know my journey, but how do my allies have to navigate? How do we protect our allies as well? Like, I think that is a conversation that does need some um, consideration. Maybe not a whole lot of consideration, but it needs to be on the map. I think there needs to be
Right.
some covering all the way around.
So what was the response to that?
Um, on the three ladies that I interviewed, one was in Amsterdam, one was in New York, one was in LA. So it was the diverse group of white women, Caucasian women. And they admitted they lived in a bubble because they do ignore things that that doesn't serve them, even though they do stand and they do fight and they do believe. There's this uncomfortability to get out from underneath it, to put a light on
Yes.
it. And
Right.
so, and that's a natural response. I can't get upset with that. I
No.
think
True.
once you know it, then you can correct it. But no one
Hmm.
ever asked them that point blank question so they could kind of know it and feel it and
Right.
understand it. Like here, you know it,
Hmm.
but you got to have those conversations so that they can say, you know what, I really haven't really been addressing them. I need to be more outspoken about things. I need to dead things instead of walking away, instead of disconnecting, the passive response. Let's just get
Yes.
into it. Let's have that conversation.
That's exactly it. And ignorance, right? Like if you're ignorant to it, that's one thing. When you're now aware of it and you're choosing to ignore it, that's a totally different thing.
Yeah. You don't know until you know. And then if you know and you still don't do anything,
Hmm.
you know,
Yes. Right.
yeah.
Right. I've been using the analogy about privilege a lot because we're quick to throw around white privilege or we're quick to throw around white supremacy. Uh, but we all have privileges and we all have different lenses that we look at things through. And I use the analogy of a person in a wheelchair. And I could just walk up to a Starbucks, step up the stairs, buy my coffee, and step out, and not have an issue with the fact that there's not a ramp for accessibility for someone in a wheelchair. That is my mobile privilege, so to speak,
Right.
right? So until I'm aware that there's no ramp there, you know what I mean? Like it means nothing to me. But now if I'm
Right.
walking with my friend who's in a wheelchair and then he's mad because there's no ramp, I should also take up that offense and be like, why isn't there ramp? Because I'm now aware of that.
Right. We have to advocate for each other. And I think people
Advocate
have
for
an
another. Yes.
issue with people who advocate, and especially in the workplace. In the workplace, when you advocate for yourself, you're seen as being, angry or
Hmm.
volatile or disruptive. And at the end of the day, I let me tell you something about this space right here.
Hmm.
This space don't lie. I work really hard to kind of soften my edges a little bit. It's hard. It's definitely hard. If I don't agree with it, I don't agree with it. But I need reasons and I need answers. And so
Yes.
for me, when I'm asking specific direct questions and I'm being glossed over because maybe you
Yes.
don't have those answers, instead of just saying, "Hey, I don't know those answers. Let me get back to you," or "Great points," or "Let me look at things from a different lens," because Paula's
Hmm.
looking at things from a different lens. To gloss over someone because you don't know, because of your lack of
Yes.
knowledge or your ignorance,
Hmm.
is very disrespectful in the workplace, right?
Yes.
So when we are navigating in our workspaces, we all have to be very conscious of that. My main job, I manage about 70 instructors and trainers,
Hmm.
and I program programs not only for our facility but for the county as well. And
Okay.
so you have to be very precise in how you
Yes.
articulate, and that precision can be viewed as being something else based off of
Right.
your perception, your feelings,
Yes.
your emotion. But if we're talking dollars and cents, the dollars have to make sense. The
Hmm.
programming has to make sense. So it has to be very precise. We have to pinpoint exactly what resources we need, what's the outcome, what problems are we going to solve, how well is this
Yes.
going to be affected, and what in revenue are we generating. So
Hmm.
a person, a white female or a white male can be very direct in that and be viewed differently. As it comes from me, it looks different and it feels different to the person hearing it, even though
Yes.
there's no intent on my part. I'm just
Right.
being a businesswoman and I'm looking at dollars that make sense.
Right. And you said earlier that you are the minority in the minority as a woman
Okay.
and a black, you know what I mean? So that also people come at you from, okay, so let's see what she has to say. Why is she saying it like that? What does that mean? And they're hearing what you say through so many filters.
Yeah. The filters, I think, are what stops the growth and the creativity
Hmm.
because we all come with our predisposed filters. I have my
Right.
own. Like
Of
for
course.
us
We
to
all do.
say
Yes.
as black people we don't have filters, we all have to be introspective and check ourselves at the door.
Of course.
But I feel like sometimes I walk a line where some days I'm tired and I'm just like, ugh, I'm not
Hmm.
even gonna say anything today because I'm too tired. But
Right.
is that pushing me or pulling me in the direction I want to go in, or is it
Mm.
stifling me? And am I allowing it to? So
Hmm.
I have to take some onus of myself to be to find those little pieces of strength to be able to push
Yes.
the agenda that needs to be met so that we can get to the end goal. Because I know what I'm doing. I didn't get where I'm at from not knowing what I'm doing.
Hmm.
But sometimes the outside forces can make us very quiet and very still while we
Right.
try to figure out how to communicate in a way that people hear you and
Yes.
see you. And that's a lot of work on me. You know
That's
what
a
I'm saying?
lot of work. Yes, absolutely.
I just want to come
That's
in and be. I just want to make this money. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's not quite that easy, right? Like,
Mm-mm.
and that's what and I was highlighting just as I was thinking preparing for this, I was highlighting some of Rad Dockery's core conversation that we had, where from a business perspective, he looks at data and information and how we interpret that information because that doesn't lie, and the misrepresentation and the disparity in terms of how much we make and all these different things. Numbers are numbers, and how we interpret those numbers reinforce our position and our arguments and all those different things. So I like that. My challenge with that, though, is a lot of people that are in the fitness industry are in the fitness industry because they didn't want to do math, because they didn't want to be in this place, right? They want to help people, and they want to make money. Obviously, I want to pay my mortgage and stuff, but like I'm not out here trying to make, trying to build an empire, so to speak. And I hear that a lot. So, Paul, can you just talk a little bit about your kind of career path and how you got to this place of focusing on business and the money side, the entrepreneurial side?
Okay. So I've always liked money. Like even as a little girl, my
Okay.
okay, my grandmother used to, clean the fire stations and the police departments and the town hall and as a little girl, I was so ashamed of that because I was like, oh my God, like she's a house cleaner. Like, I was like 4 or 5 years old, and I stayed with my grandmother overnight because my parents were nights. So I got
Mhm.
the best of my grandparents and my regular life with my parents, right? And I didn't realize my grandmother was a boss, honey. She had contracts. with
Mm.
cleaning houses. No shade to house cleaning, but she had contracts. She went to the police station and the fire station, and she had
Yeah.
like keys to all of these municipal buildings. And I
Okay.
didn't realize that. And she used to give me my allowance in a $5 bill with 4 quarters, and then she would roll this $5 bill. I don't even know how she rolled it. It was so cute. It was in this
Hmm.
cute little pocket, right? That was my allowance every week from my grandmother for helping her. And all I did was take the little tiny trash cans and dump them. That's all I did, right?
Okay.
So I've always loved money, and I think that's what started me valuing how I earn my money. And then also the lens of what I didn't want my life to look like, even though
Hmm.
in a sense there was nothing negative about what my grandmother did. I just knew that that wasn't what I wanted for myself. So when you take
Gotcha.
how you look at money and you look at what your life wants to be like, this is like the end goal. This is the picture, right? You start
Yes.
with the picture and then you start to break down the picture. So I've always liked money. I majored in theater at North Carolina Central University,
Hmm.
um, theater administration, because I want to know where my money is
Right.
going.
Yes.
And then as I got into fitness, I went through my group fitness certification training. And I remember them saying there's so many careers in fitness, and they went through all the careers. They went around the room and they said, "Oh, what do you want to do?" And I said, "I want to do what you do," because she was a group fitness manager and she was a trainer. She was the trainer for the certification program. She was a boss. And I
Yeah.
just want to do what you do, okay?
Yes. Yes.
So I've always had that in my head that I wanted to own the things that I do, because when I own the things that I do, I control the narrative, I control the
Yes.
progression, I control the journey. And so, I got hired as an instructor, and I've worked for some really great people. But I started at Valley Total Fitness. That's like my heart. I know there's a
Hmm.
lot of diehard Valley Total Fitness people out there in the world.
Yes. In
And
Canada too. Yes.
yes, baby. And they allowed me to create. So I learned programming through them because I could create something in my head, pitch it to my group fitness director, and he would say, "Okay, let's put it together. Come back and give me how much it is." Da 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 da. He was training me in a sense of that, but I didn't know that
Great.
at the time. I just knew I'm gonna teach this class so many days a week, and I'm gonna make this money. And
Hmm.
so, every place I've worked as a manager of some sense of the word, whether it's a group fitness manager, director, Pilates coordinator, director. I've learned pieces at each one.
Yes.
The Valley Total Fitness started that journey. One of the others is Lifetime Fitness. I
Hmm.
work for them in Pilates and group fitness, and learning those analytics, those numbers that you talk
Yes.
about, right? They're so
Yes.
big on the numbers where every day we're looking at the numbers. And that's what really trained me on, like, every day makes a difference in how that end number looks like. It's not I'll go hard today and then I'm going to chill for the rest of the week. It's every day makes a dent in it to see
Yes.
how you progress towards that end goal. And it is
Hmm.
difficult because we're creatives, instructors, personal trainers, anyone that works in fitness, we are creatives. We create
Yes.
movement and we create um, outcomes to get someone from whatever their issue is to, like,
Hmm.
and that's what gets us off, right? That's what's sexy about what we do.
Yes.
But the
That's what makes us feel
analytics,
alive.
yeah, and it also makes us feel like we're serving to our patrons, we're serving to our clients. So
Yes.
there's a thing of giving back and being of service. But
Right.
for me, when it comes to the numbers, I was always really great at putting together programming based off of like my rock star team, or maybe that new instructor who's really good at one thing but they don't know it yet. So I have to grow them into it and say, "Hey, Martin, I'm thinking about doing a run club for on this date because this is the
Yes.
anniversary of da 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 da. And I know you're a runner, right? So would you be interested in doing helping me with that program?" Martin doesn't know I'm building and grooming him, and Martin doesn't know that I need this amount of people in order to get this profit. in
Yes.
order to get us to the end of this goal. Like,
Yes.
so at the end of the day, I'm growing Martin as an instructor, but I'm also growing my bottom line.
Yeah, big number, right?
Yeah. And so you have to know how to position people or yourself if you are your own business and brand. What is the best thing that you do? So when we first come out, we want to teach to everybody, right? We want to teach everybody. We teach to everybody. Anybody can take our class, right?
Hmm.
And we're very fearful of niching down to that one person, that one type of person, because we don't want to let everybody else down.
Right.
We want to get everybody's money. We don't want to like single out just one type of person, right?
Hmm.
And what I found is that when you niche down and you're very specific about what you do and who you serve, with all the billions of people in the world that are accessible to you on this internet, you
Hmm.
will not um, fall into like the masses, but you'll shine out like a beacon because those people that need what you give, they're going to say, "Oh, this is what I've been looking for. These
Yes.
are the results I need."
Right.
So the first thing that we have to do, even if you don't like the numbers, don't even think about the numbers. Ask yourself, what does your ideal client look like?
Yes.
And what solutions do you deliver? And what does this ideal client's issues look like
Hmm.
where what you deliver offers the solution?
Yes. Could we pause there for a second, Paula?
Mhm.
So, for those of you who are listening, I'd love for you to put in the comment section who your ideal client is. So, even as Paula's just saying it right now, can you, almost like an elevator pitch, just type in the comment section, my ideal client is aging active adults or young people or female, whatever it is, just put it in the comments section, just out of curiosity. I'd love to hear if you could, if you actually can articulate who your ideal client is.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm scared of that too, which is why
Mhm.
I have so many businesses.
Yeah.
So,
So there's a danger in that, is there not?
um, and so many businesses.
Yes. Well, I mean, and
Um,
not sticking with one long enough to actually lock down that niche.
it depends because they're so different. Like
Okay.
you know, my skincare and hair care line has
Paula's
nothing
whip.
to do. Yeah, Paula's Whip
Get it.
has nothing to do with Pilates. And my Pilates business is very specific because I had to niche down what I was going to do in this world, how I was going to impact it.
Yes.
Because I wanted a group. I first started like, hey, I'm going to put together a group, right?
Hmm.
And it evolves. Before that, I just wanted to be like the number one black girl that was slinging Pilates and come and see me, just like everybody else. You just want to
Yeah.
hustle. And then I said, that's not really my thing. I want to put a group together because I feel like I'm the only one. Let me put a group
Mm.
together. And then as I was doing that, I bumped into Black Girl Pilates.
Yes.
And I said, oh, well, shoot, I don't need to do that. That's
Nope.
already being
That's
done. So
done.
let me move on to something else. And so then I decided that my goal was to be able to educate um, and provide more images of Black women doing Pilates to be able to showcase what that looks like. And with
Yes.
all of us in the group, I think we do an amazing job of showcasing what
Absolutely.
it looks like. The only thing I would say we need more of is to be able to make sure those images are populating at the top of those Google searches by
Right.
looking at those analytics that we hate to look at, but
Hmm.
also plugging in our key SEO words, knowing what those keywords look like for us. And again, the SEO words stem from what your ideal client looks like and
Yes.
what their issues are. So if you're very specific with the client, your keywords will come from that. And then
Mm.
you'll be able to automatically plug up if back pain is one of the keywords because you're really great with working with issues with back pain or hip
Yes.
issues.
Right.
Um, if somebody is looking for core, but they
Hmm.
love to dance, then I'm going to use core dance inside of my SEO description for Afro Pilates because
Right.
it's going to pull up, but they're not going to be like, what is Afro Pilates? So
Hmm. Yeah, that's smart. Like pre postnatal or whatever the case is. Like you, yes.
yeah, but even deeper than pre-postnatal, like what? Because there's so many different things. Like what specifically do you do in terms of pre-postnatal? Like what problems do you solve? Because that's
Yes.
all people want. When they Google, they're looking for answers. You've got to be able to tell them what those solutions are
Yes.
quickly,
Yes.
quickly, before they scroll. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that's true. I think that you're saying when you distill it down that much, we don't spend enough time really unpacking our business to that level.
It's scary
It's,
because
yeah, it's scary.
you don't want to kick money to the curb.
Well, yeah, I had a post about this a while ago. It's like if I was to ask you, who's your favorite child? If you have like three kids, you're not going to say one child is your favorite. You say, well, I love all of my children. But with our businesses and our ideas and stuff, we have to come to a place where you say, like, I don't love these ones less, but I'm going to give some attention to this business
Right.
angle right now.
And it can be a focus because most of us, we teach multiple formats. So
Yes.
niching down can be very challenging. So you have to find seasons of your
Mhm.
calendar where you niche down. So maybe you really highlight a program or a workshop that you're doing for TRX. And this is going to be the thing you drive for 6 weeks. You're driving it, your posts are impactful, everything points you to that particular landing page or website where people can find out more information. Doesn't mean you don't teach Pilates.
Mhm.
It just means that right now my focus is this, right?
Yes. Yes.
And then another month or so, your focus
Mhm.
is maybe something else. So
Yes.
you can use your calendar as ways to organize your
Hmm.
marketing strategies as well. Um, but you have to be clear about that. That's what helped me. I really had to be very clear about what it is that I do. So even with the business coaching that I give, at first it was like, oh, I do this. And then I had to get like real, I had to
Narrow it.
figure out
Narrow it.
what are people really needing? Like, what are
Yes.
people really asking? And so during COVID, people were asking a lot of questions in my business groups. They wanted to start a business, they didn't know how. They were asking questions about products or services. They didn't know the pros and the cons that were just basic things. But if
Yes.
you don't know, you don't know, right?
Right. Exactly.
So I said, I need to really work with that market because, again, I'm good at growing people. I've grown instructors for the last 20 years. I'm good at shaping people on what they're good at and pointing them in that direction. And I love business and money, and I know how to read the analytics. So my goal right now with my business coaching is just to help entrepreneurs figure out how to get very linear and cut the
Yes.
fat on where to start or where to go. So even if
Yes.
you're new, let's figure out who you are and who your customer is first. Let's get
First. Right.
let's get that down. But if
Yes.
you've had a business, let's look at your business. Let's see what's going on. And let's analyze how much money you made while you were doing all these things on social media.
Hmm.
And how are you using social media to point them to give you their money? And are you using social media for that?
Hmm.
So there's room for both, but I'm
Yes.
very clear on systems and I'm very clear on saving people money.
So,
So
so, so what excites you more? The person who is like green behind the ears, fresh and wanted to start their business, or the person who had a business and said, you know, I need to peel this back and really look at how do I make this profitable now?
mhm. Which one?
Yes.
I think right now my reach is the brand new person
Okay.
who just doesn't know where to start because they're more open. I think it's
Yes.
just a perception. we as business owners, sometimes we feel like we can figure it out and we can do
Hmm.
it all on our own. And you are your own brand, but you are many corporations, so you need people to help you. You need to offset some of that work so you can create, right?
Yes, yes,
And new people just want the information so they can get started. So I think the pushback I have from those professionals that already have a business is they just want to figure it out on their own,
yes,
and they don't
yes.
realize that there's time that's being lost, which is revenue that's not being generated while they learn. And they end up spending money on systems that they don't need for their
Yes.
business.
Hmm.
And that is very frustrating as well. So I have a program called it's free. It's a 10-day challenge, and it's called the Free 99 Challenge because I like to think of myself as the queen of free 99.
Okay.
And so I like to use free systems first
Yes.
before and test them out to see like what I need or what I don't need,
Of course.
because
Yes.
you
Makes sense.
don't know unless you know. So you may go and buy this big, website with all the bells and whistles, but how much do you really use your website?
Mm.
So maybe you didn't need a website. Maybe you just needed a landing page, which you can get those for free, right?
Yes. Right.
So maybe you just need to build a specific, and a landing page, let me go back, is a one page that points a customer to one place, and that page only talks about one thing. There are no links, there are no like pop-ups flying across the screen. There's
Hmm.
nothing to distract the client from paying you for that goal. So
Hmm.
um, that to me, in my experience, is very clean, a much more cleaner way to get your
Yes.
money, because the website is kind of like, hey, this is my home. Look at the living room. Look at the kitchen. Let's look at the backyard. And so
Yes.
you're
Yes.
looking at the scope, right? Where a
Yes.
landing page is just look at my pool. Do you see how I decorated my pool? And we're
Hmm.
only focused on the pool. And so that, to me, I feel like landing pages for my business work better. But I use them both.
Yes.
Um, but to be able to know that I didn't need to spend, whatever amount of money on a huge website that I'm not
Yes.
going to use,
Right.
because I'm literally just going to go directly and build this landing page
Hmm.
um, that has everything that I need: automation, emails, surveys, everything that I need for free. I think that there's a lot that can be said about using free systems first so
Yes.
that you know when and if you want to level up.
That's so helpful. That sounds, and hearing you say it, that's exciting for the person who's watching us, even on the replay, who may be like a Pilates instructor working at a gym, working in a big box gym, just just got their certification and they're thinking, okay, well, what's next? I can continue to build this person's vision working for this company, or I could do my own thing. What's my next step? Reach out to you, figure it out from there.
Yep. And I have a consultation, a free consultation. So um,
Free
it,
99?
it's free 99,
Get
honey.
it.
Get it in while you can. But that's where we kind of look at like where you are and where you want to go. Because
Yes.
instead of me saying, oh, I have this program at that program at this program, where do you want to go? Because
Hmm.
everybody's vision is different for their business. And it could be, I just want to get 1,000 followers. I'm at 500 now, and I need to strategically get 1,000 followers. How can I do that? You know,
Yes. Yeah.
because people think followers come first, right?
Hmm.
Um, and if that's your strategy, then we have to make sure that the people that are following are your ideal client and not buying or bribing follow for follows and likes for likes, because that's the new
Yes. Yes.
game now, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you want quality, not quantity.
Yeah. So if you've got 500 followers and they love what you do and they're your supporters and they're your fans and they're your clients and you're
Hmm.
funneling everybody into this internet, uh, I'm sorry, Instagram account,
Yes.
then you've got them in one place, right?
Hmm.
So you can sell to them. But the other thing is when that person wants to leave, they can just leave
Hmm.
and now your numbers are going back and forth.
Yes.
So a lot of one of the mistakes I think that people make is not building their email list, not knowing
Yes.
the value of their email list. Um,
Hmm.
because with an email list, I can nurture that relationship with you. Doesn't
Yes.
mean I'm going to sell to you in every email. There's a system of how to send those emails out. And I go over that with my clients as well. But to be able to have a space where they can have a dialogue back and forth and it
Yes.
not be public, right?
Right.
And you can highlight what you're doing
Hmm.
and you can ask them what they want from you. And it's just, it works the same, but this is a list you own, right? No, if Instagram shuts down or is slow, you remember that day Instagram just shut down? It was off the grid. Nobody
Yes.
could do nothing. It was crazy.
Yep.
I went to my email list, honey. I went to my email list. I shot a video and I said, well, Instagram is down, so you're gonna have to get me this way. And I sent
Hmm.
it out there by email.
There you go. Yeah, that's so smart. And I think, guys, we lose we don't think about that because the path of least resistance is Instagram, direct messaging, Facebook, but never actually tangibly grab hold of those email addresses.
Right. And it's hard to get the emails. I'm telling you, you don't want to give your email out, Martin. I don't want to give my email out either. You better have something really good for me to give you my email. Because I'm just not going to
Hmm.
give you my email, Martin, just because you say, hey, well, I might give it to you. But the
But
normal
yes.
Joe Schmo.
Right, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. The
So
person you're fearing is going to try and sell you something you don't need.
yeah, so that means I got to connect with you in a way, or you've got to give me something in exchange for that email, right?
Right,
And
right.
and don't do the bait and switch. Don't say that they're going to get one thing and then you send them something else when they sign up because
Hmm.
that does not work with integrity,
Right.
and it's not a transparent way for you to do business. So you have to always think about your branding and how you're delivering it and making sure that you are always working with integrity and transparency. But
Yes.
email lists are your goal because if you decide to do a new program, you could test it out with your email list because those are your ride or dies. If you
Yes.
have a special, you can email those people first
Hmm.
before you give the regular price out into the world of social media and websites. So
Yes.
there's a lot of ways you can incentivize people to be able to capture their email. You just have
Hmm.
to understand that you're going to need it. Even if you don't think you're going to need it now, if you
Right.
start working on it, once you figure out this business plan of yours and how you want to market,
Hmm.
you'll definitely be able to use your email list.
That's amazing. That's so exciting because honestly, I saw your post about 2020 being the year, and we look at what's happening and we're like, oh man, this is so terrible and this is closed down. I feel like this is a great opportunity. I'm trying to make up ground while the rest of the world is sitting on their hands waiting for the world to open up.
It's been the best year for each and every one of my businesses.
Hmm.
It's been the best year. Um, I pivoted in one of my businesses where, again, who's your client or what's the need,
Hmm.
what's the issue, and how can you provide a solution? So I
Yes.
pivoted. I added a product into my product line I'd never done before. I posted it. I didn't even post it on social media. I think I just emailed my people. I
Yes.
emailed my people.
Hmm.
And because it was late, I was tired. I didn't feel like posting anything else on social media. I sent the link out to my email list, and the next day I woke up with 5 orders. So I pivoted and I used my email list.
Yes.
Um, the other thing is I really niched down because all the instructors came out of the woodwork, right? Like as soon as we
Hmm.
shut down, like the internet was flooded with every type of personal trainer and instructor and that's in fitness
Yes.
in the world, right? And so I was already online. I was already doing videos. I was already working on my online studio. So it just I didn't have to build. All I had to do was just say, hey,
Hey.
here's my studio if you want it.
Right.
But
Yes.
then I had to niche down even more and say, I don't really want to focus on just only Pilates because
Mm.
my background also is in dance, African dance. And I put together this program a few years ago, Afro Pilates, and ain't nobody else in the world doing that, I think. So let me go ahead and highlight.
Right. Now that I have your attention,
Now
yes.
that I have your attention, look at
Hmm.
this, because I'm doing something different. And we're going to
Yes.
get this cardio and this core on. So niching down, not being afraid to do something that's in this little bubble, not being
Yes.
afraid to do that, pointed people directly to me versus
Hmm.
me saying, "Oh, I can do Pilates mat and I can do online training and I can do PT," because everybody was doing that.
Right.
And so I had to figure out from a branding perspective how to um, set myself apart from the masses.
Right. That's exactly how Core Conversations was birthed, right? I looked
Mhm.
at the fact that everybody, as soon as it shut down, everyone was doing classes. So then I used Instagram Live basically to say, what class are you running today? Let's highlight it. What class are you running today? So instead of everyone doing classes, I became the channel through which I was highlighting everyone that was doing classes. So my hope was that people would tune in here to hear how people are making their pivots for this COVID, this quarantine. And from there, it's evolved into highlighting our Pilates instructors. And from there to addressing anti-Black racism. And then all these different things that come out of already having a platform that people are paying some attention to.
Yeah,
Um,
and you're pinching off everybody's audience because everybody's audience is tuning in, and some
that's
of them will
exactly it.
stay. So you
Hmm.
are using collaboration to be able to build your brand, and I don't
Yes,
think we collaborate enough. I think
we
we're
don't.
fearful. We want to keep
Hmm.
this stuff to ourselves. First of all, we want to sell to the masses and get all the money. Super greedy,
Yes,
right?
right,
And then
right.
we want to keep everything to ourselves. Super, super greedy, right?
Right.
But
Yes.
so the art of being able to collaborate is not being fearful because you have niched down so hard. You know exactly who you are, what you deliver, what your core demographic audience looks like. You know who is for you and who you're speaking to.
Yes.
Now, Martin's core demographic audience is different. So, what's for Martin is for Martin, but what's for me is for me.
Yes.
And so you should never be afraid to collaborate. I
Hmm.
scream that all the time. We need to collaborate
Absolutely.
more.
There's a sense of confidence in knowing who you are that comes from that too. That I know what I do, and I know that if I am confident in that, and also knowing what you do, I can refer people out to you. That boosts my credibility. That doesn't make me look incompetent because I don't do it. It makes me look confident to know this is the network of people you need around you. So people keep coming back to me to find out where to go next. So I become that conduit for
Martin
everything
is
that's
the
happening.
expert. Yep, Martin is now the expert. And so
Hmm.
it solidifies you in so many different ways. And so
Yes.
when you collaborate, whatever is for you will be for you, right?
Yes.
But if you're
Right.
still in this little corner doing it by yourself, you're still doing it to the same people you've always been doing it to. So
Hmm.
nobody else sees you. And
Right.
so, how dare you hide your gifts and your talents? How dare
Yes.
you keep that to yourself, right?
Hmm.
Like, get out there and network with other people and collaborate with other people. How dare you?
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
First, yeah, exactly. We sit on our gifts.
Ah, Uni said, I think Martin is doing a business consult with
Exactly. And no word of a lie, that's true. I am because for every person who watches this, who's going to watch it later, they're going to have the same questions. So I'm not ashamed to ask those questions that look like, okay, well, I'm going to help. That can write that down. You done know as soon as we get off, I'm looking at my email list, right?
But that's the good stuff. Like, I'm not giving you anything I wouldn't give anybody when we were talking. Like, I would never charge anybody for this information because this is like the bare bones basics. There's so
Yes,
much other work that needs to be done once you get the email list or once
right,
you do build the following or even how to analyze the analytics. And so that's
right.
where I come into play. For
Exactly.
example, when I post a specific type of post on Instagram or Facebook, my sales automatically are generated. from that post.
Yes.
I
Okay.
already know that those are the types of posts that generate revenue for me, whether
Hmm.
it's for my Paula's Whip or whether it's for my Afro Pilates class. This is a specific type of post. Now, do I post those 24/7? No, because there's a formula to how you post on social media
Yes.
in
Yes.
order to retain your clients and not push them away. But it's good information to know so that you can market or strategize
Strategize. Yes.
this opportunity or this sale or this class. I need to
Mhm.
post this type of post so that it can trickle down and
Yes.
connect. So
Right.
what it sounds like a lot of work in the beginning, and it is.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
not, but once you look at it, it's just like walking. When you first learn how to pull
Yes.
yourself up to walk,
Hmm.
um, it was a lot, and you had to
Hmm.
figure out how not to fall down, right? But once
Yes.
you figured it out, you knew it, and you locked in on it. And it's the same way
Mm.
with business too. So
Yes.
I love it. I love money, honey. I love talking about money, making
I
money,
can
generating money.
tell. I can tell. In our final 5 minutes here, which felt like 5 minutes we've been talking for, any closing thoughts? I mean, you've dropped so much wisdom today, and I love when people are so smart that they can give you a ton of stuff, and you know that that's still just the tip of the iceberg for what they really know and how that's going to change when you can have that one face-to-face conversation with them and you can apply it to their lives. Solid stuff. So just in closing, just some final thoughts for our audience out here.
Don't be afraid to pivot. Like, just don't. Don't be afraid to change and shift where you're going, the direction you're going, um, who you're impacting. Think about how you can make an impact into the world. How can you leave an imprint into the world? And how can you live the life that you want to live for your livelihood, your family? How can you be amazing in the life that you're living? Because we don't do this just because we're passionate. This is a business. And so
Mm-hmm.
start to think of yourself as a business owner. And if you're running your business from your personal account, I'm going to tell you right now, stop it. Go build you a business Instagram. Go build you a business Facebook like ASAP, like do it. And then hit me up and I'll tell you what to do next so that you can start to reap the benefits of running a business online.
Yes.
And I'll type my website, or it's really my landing page. My landing page. I'll
All
put that
right.
in there. Thank you
Perfect.
so much, Martin. This was so much fun.
It was
It did go
super
by
fun.
fast. It went by fast.
I feel like we could just do another hour on so many other topics. So um, there you go. There's your Bitly. My wife's big on getting those landing pages and everything set up. So it's coming. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today, Paula. That was so good. I'll send you the replay later. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Paul, I'm just going to sign you up here, say our final goodbyes, and we'll get you. And Uni's asking for that second date. We'll make that happen. Awesome. Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay, take care. Thank you so much for joining us today on Core Conversations. This organic platform has been made possible by amazing people like yourself. So if you're a Pilates instructor or a movement specialist of some kind and you want to be a guest, please message me. If you're in some other field and the messages just resonate with you, message me. I'd love to have you on. All of our messages connect, and for some reason, they all help us in this battle. We're all in this game together, so I'd love to hear from you. Let your words be life to someone else. Check out our website, personalvictory.ca. Click the Core Conversations page to see who our upcoming guests are, and I will see you next time on Core Conversations.